Hi there, and welcome to this edition of Empowerment Hour here at Calon FM. So, just to remind everyone that due to the COVID restrictions, this wonderful coronavirus that's still doing the rounds, I am not in the studio yet. We don't know when we will be allowed back. The restrictions are in place via the whole of the university. It's not just the radio station. So, as always, I'm pre-recording this over the Zoom platform, and let's see how we get on today, shall we? So a little bit about me. So something that's happened for me this last week is that I've been enjoying the warm evenings and sitting in the garden. And a couple of nights ago, my daughter came up to me. Her and her boyfriend had been talking about games that they played as children, and we got frustration out. So those of you who remember that one, I don't even know if it's still available to buy. I'm going to say it must be. It's such a simple game. Children of all ages love it. And we got incredibly competitive with each other, chasing each other around this bit of plastic board. It was such fun for about 2.5 to 3 hours. Until the midges and the mozzies appeared and we started to get eaten. So we then gave up the game and came back indoors. But it was such fun to relive those times that I can recall with my kids, because it was a great way of teaching them how to count, how to be kind to each other, not to beat each other up when somebody knocked you off the board, things like that. So I was reminded of that sort of event with my family, which was great. And I get that there's a lot of frustration in people's world as well. So if that's you, well, hang on in there, because I know that everyone wants to get back to what might have been normality. And let's just, stay calm, people. We can do this. We can do this. We're in this together. So today's guest on Empowerment Hour is Jayne Hopwood, and Jayne is an interior designer. And if there's one thing I love to talk about, is other people's homes. I think I'm a frustrated interior designer at heart, I'll be honest. So good morning to you, Jayne.
Hello, gorgeous. Good morning to you.
And it's Jayne with a Y, Jayne. I love a Jayne with a Y. You're the only other Jayne with a Y that I know.
I think the word looks more smiley.
Oh, do you?
I do. The Y is the smile.
I love it. I love it. So Jayne, tell us a little bit about you. So where are you from and where are you living right now?
Ooh, well, I am Welsh. I'm no longer a Welsh speaker, but living in North Wales, not far from yourself, Denise, just over the border in a cutesy-wootsy little village called Harden. You may know it.
I do. I think Harden is very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Really.
Our ex-Prime Minister, Gladstone, his family still live in the village, and Harden is quite a historic place and is in our history books.
It is.
So
Well,
very cool to live here.
Yeah, I have to say, I went a couple of years ago up to the cottage in the Lake District where Beatrix Potter eventually lived. And there's a whacking great portrait of Gladstone on the landing, and they were very good friends apparently. And so she would often visit him in Harden, and he would go and see her in the Lake District. Yes. And I never knew that until I went there.
He liked the ladies, apparently.
Yeah. Have you done the library tour? Have you done that?
I haven't done a tour. I have been in the library, so I know a little bit about it. Yes. What jumps to mind with you?
Well, on the tour, they talked about how Gladstone was a great letter writer, and he knew that in order to fulfill his ambitions of becoming Prime Minister, he had to marry into money. And basically, he sent love letters, I put in inverted commas, to a lot of ladies with money, until eventually the lady at Harden, who became his wife, took him on. And that's how their marriage began. So, like, well, that's an interesting way of doing things.
Yes, yes. So, marriage led him very much into the spotlight then, didn't it?
Absolutely. He needed the money. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I
And
guess that
Gladstone. He did lots of great things.
he did. Yeah, no. Anyway, yes, so now we know where you live. What we're going to do is, I always like to keep the first section quite short and sweet. So we're going to go to our first song and then we'll be back after this break. Hi there, welcome back. This is Empowerment Hour. I'm your host, Denise Oliver, and my guest today is Jayne with a Y, Hopwood. Is it a Welsh spelling of Jayne, do you think? Because the other Jayne I know is Welsh.
Yeah, well, there's a whole different word for Jayne, and it is Sian in Welsh. Yes,
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, I had a grandmother called Sian, and I think that's where my name comes from. However, the English version.
Okay, lovely. So, you have an interior design business. So, tell us something about your past and how you actually got into interior design.
Oh, quite by, I would love to say by accident, but do you know what? I've said that a few times during interviews, and I think that's it isn't correct. I followed my heart. I find myself in interior design because it's a love. The environment around me and the changes I can make in the environment around me has a direct correlation to the environment within me, and vice versa. And one affects the other. As we all know in this, I liked your introduction, by the way, about how lovely Corona and the environment is today. But we're all being affected by this. And our internal environment is very much affected by our external environment. When we listen to our heart and what's within, and we realize what control we have over our immediate environment, by changing that, there is a direct correlation to how we feel within.
I have to say, you mentioning coronavirus again, I was very amused by one of the things that happened after we came out of this, countrywide lockdown, was the length of the queue at IKEA. The length of time that people were prepared to wait to actually go and get whatever it was they felt they couldn't live without, that IKEA had in store for them. And I don't know which one it was. I'm going to say it's probably the Warrington one here, because I think that's the picture I saw. But people waited 4 hours to get in, to buy whatever they required.
Yeah, it's all about controlling one's environment, you see. If you
So what do you think that people will have noticed about their environment during this time? Because they will have spent a long time indoors.
I think, to be honest, the draw to standing in a 4-hour queue in probably every IKEA in the country, or indeed the world, once IKEA opened, is unfortunately moreover to do with an itch for buying material items, moreover than changing one's environment. That seems a part of the consciousness which is secondary. If we become conscious of that fact, then rolls into very much my own belief and that very deep primal need to control environments. So let's take the itch out of the picture. There's a certain pleasure in putting together a new landscape, because it changes the way we feel inside, and people are desperate to change the way they feel inside. And being part of the human race and this very interesting odd culture we're all part of today, the itch to buy, running parallel with our very primal instincts to change environment, are a marketer's dream. And this is why IKEA and all the adverts for the various material items, as shown to us on all levels of TV and social media, work. So IKEA.
Yeah, apparently our spending went up hugely during COVID.
DIY furniture, lots and lots of things purchased for the home. That industry, as compared to most of the others, is strong in this time, yes, because people have a primitive instinct within them to change their state, and with the itch the culture gives us, twofold.
I have to say, I spent many a time in IKEA, took my children there like it was a play centre. Let them have a run round and play with all the toys and then leave with a cushion.
Absolutely, me too.
I'm not sure I should actually be admitting that on air with all the people who listen, but that's what I've done in the past. Thankfully, they're grown up now. Anyway, we'll talk about them another time. But let's take a break now. And when we come back, I'd actually like to get into what actually is interior design, because I'll bet there's sort of like principles about interior design, and when you get that right, it can change your whole energy around your living space, the space itself and you within it. So let's take our break now and we'll be back shortly. Hi there, welcome back. We're talking all things interior design with my guest Jayne Hopwood, and your business is called Jayne Hopwood Interior Design.
My business actually for 20 years has been called J Decor Interiors. And I am in the process of a rebranding, so I'm playing with my name and a couple of other suggestions. I'm working with my brother-in-law actually to do this very thing.
Oh, cool, sounds great. Cool. So tell us what some of the principles of interior design are. You know, how can we help ourselves? Because there's 1,010 books about it. We could get a feng shui expert in. You know, we can watch TV programs till we're blue in the face and still not get it right. So, what is it?
Now, gosh, that's quite a big question. There are many principles to consider when interior designing. There is one principle that I find most people leave on the table and don't consider, and that's simply to follow one's heart. There is an eclectic mix of beliefs, cultures, fashion shoved to us on all platforms of social media. Our friends talk about different things, and it's very, very difficult to discern what is truly within us and what we as individuals, because we all are so individual, actually need, like, require, want in our immediate environment. And many of us run foul of following trends and cultures and friends and other things and pictures and magazines, and we create a wonderful environment. We do, and we do that either for ourselves, or the layperson may contact somebody like me, who that's also part of my job, and I can do that. But I do something different, so I'm going to answer that question a little bit differently, Denise, and come in from the left. I teach people to find what's within and follow their heart's desire. It's a technique that's very, very popular in the Netherlands, actually. It's a line of a certain type of questioning, NLP questioning, neuro-linguistic programming, that means, for anybody who hasn't heard of NLP before. And I have put together a bespoke program and method, which I've adapted over my 20 years of doing what I do. And I lead people by the hand of self-discovery to find out what they love. And obviously the principles of colour, shade, space, shape, I think I've said that, the myriad of layers of interior design principles also become part of that, but the lead is very much to search what is in the heart, because the heart may not want the fashion or what the culture is producing of what their best friend tells them to have. It all starts from within. And that's where most people have the biggest difficulty of knowing who they are and what they want to be. And so I take them by the hand and lead them.
Yeah, because I'm going to say that a lot, like you've just said, I think so many people, especially when you start out, are very much influenced by how they were brought up, so by what the family had, and you'll either go with the same or go completely against it, not really knowing who you are and what you truly want. And then there's obviously the cost of this must come into it as well. So you might truly desire one particular look, but you're on a beer budget, but you've got champagne taste.
Absolutely. And I would say champagne taste, goodness, who doesn't have champagne taste? And what a great thing to have, champagne taste. And I would never, never tell somebody to not dream, to not revel in the champagne. Do it, because surely that is the heart's desire, the champagne. So to actually put ourselves in a place to dream of all that is desired, be it champagne or otherwise, that is the first place to visit. And a champagne lifestyle can be done on a budget. Because it's all subjective. And that's where clever artists and clever people come into play. And something else I do with my business, I can tell you a bit later on about that.
Cool. Let's take our next break. And I know that for me, that I'm very much I have very eclectic tastes. So my house is full of all sorts of things from different eras. I don't collect any one thing. And I know that there's stuff that you love to do, the reinventing of everything. So let's take a break now, and then you can talk to us about how we can do that. And I'll give you a little insight into something that I've done over this summer as well. So we'll take a break now. Hi there, welcome back. This is Empowerment Hour. I'm Denise Oliver, and today we're talking interior design with Jayne Hopwood. And we're going to take a look now at reinventing items. I'm all for this, Jayne. I just love doing stuff like this. So over this summer, because it seemed to start so early, we had such a beautiful May time. We were in lockdown, we had to entertain ourselves, as it were. And for the first time in a long time, I turned my attention to my garden and looked at things that were in it and just thought, it was like everything in it talked to me. Things want to be repurposed here. They want to come from where they already are. I'm specifically talking about structures like benches, and I'm not just someone who has plants and planting. I have objects hidden all around my garden. So these objects came out from where they'd been and went somewhere else, and suddenly stuff was being moved all over the place. So how can we do that for ourselves within our homes? So what would you say to that?
Well, in our homes, outside in our gardens, it's all of our homes. And Jayne Hopwood Interiors is actually for the first time doing a garden design. We're just at the beginning stages at the moment, myself and my team. And it is, just as you said, Denise, it is about looking at objects in a different way. We throw away so much.
Yeah.
People, such wasteful things we are. And we throw away an eclectic mix of stuff. And we've all heard the saying that somebody else would find as their treasure. It's important sometimes to look at things through new eyes, and the silver lining to the lockdown, when everything was closed, we all had that itch, we all needed to change our space, and that pushes boundaries. The silver lining was the fact we did have to start looking at what's around us in a different way, because we're creatures we don't want to be in stasis. We don't want to be static. We've got to keep creating and moving forward. And most of us don't think we're creative, but we are. And it's when things are given to us that change our states. Lockdown changed a lot of states. We do things very differently, and I think an awful lot of people have discovered the creative in them and have had to look at new things. And what I do as a big part of my job, and indeed we've got a new team at J Decor. I'm now joined by Pete Coates, Master Joiner, and Master Cooper. An ancient art of coopery, which is probably for a whole different program, and James Abbott, who is probably the best plasterer in in Flintshire, Denbighshire. He is absolutely amazing, and the effects he can do with some of his plaster work, sensational. And this is for inside and outside the house. And what we do as a team, we look at things that people already have. We break them up, and people can do this themselves, and construct completely new, very beautiful, not needing to be arts and craftsy objects, all with a little bit of TLC and a bit of imagination.
Yeah, and I like you say, we can all get creative in some way. I know friends whose sewing machines came out from, the cupboard under the stairs, got dusted off, and away they've gone, even if it was just to have a go at making their own mask, things like that. And to be honest, I thought I might have done more in the house than I have done, but my business didn't stop. So I was lucky in that I've always done a lot online anyway, so that carried on. So my house inside hasn't changed, but my husband found himself with a lot more time on his hand, which is why I could go into the garden and go, how about we put this here? And he'd be like, do you know what? I'll sand it down and I'll what's it called, revarnish it and things like that. And he really got stuck in with it and just plugged himself into an audio book and would be gone all day while he repurposed this table, which is now in a different place in the garden, etc. And
I love
it's great. And we've still got stuff to move around. We redid the front garden, so we had a couple of very large trees in the front garden, and when they came down, the ground was so compacted from their roots that I was like, there's no point trying to dig into this. We're going to have to do something else. And we built this raised bed full of plants, and it's just lovely. And on that note, we are going to take another break. And can you believe it? We're coming towards the end of today's show. Yes, we'll have another section, and then we'll have the final section after that. So we're coming up to the penultimate section. So let's take our break now, Jayne. Hello and welcome back. This is Empowerment Hour. I'm Denise Oliver. My guest is Jayne Hopwood of J Decor and soon to be Jayne Hopwood Interior Design. But you do exterior design as well, don't you, Jayne? It's not just the interiors.
That's right. Our first exterior design and refurbishment with my new team is commencing and has been doing over the last couple of weeks and moving forward very well, and it's huge fun.
Yeah. And how have you managed this whole COVID social distancing thing? How does that work for you in your business?
Okay. I can very easily do what I call walkthroughs on Zoom. So much as we're doing at the moment, Denise, a person would have their phone, we'd have the Zoom connection, and they would walk me around their space, whether it being inside or outside. And the program, the exercises I do with people to bring out their heart's desires, we can conduct in this manner. When it comes to refurbishment, because we not only do the interior and exterior designs, but we actually go in and do the work as well, if so desired. Obviously compliant with government requirements, so as everyone remains safe, we can also do that.
Yeah, it's good to know, isn't it, that there's ways around doing this and things don't have to come to a complete halt. Thank goodness. Where would businesses be if we all came to a complete halt?
Yeah.
I just wonder, just throwing this in there, there's so many design programs on the TV, whether it be from crafting right the way through to designing and building your own home once you've bought that plot of land. Do you have a favourite program that you like to watch? Something that inspires you?
Yes. Not so much a program, but a platform. And something I'd like to share with everyone is Pinterest.
Yes.
Pinterest is amazing. If you fancy breaking out and being a creative, see something in your garden, join the platform Pinterest, type in what that thing is, and you will see amazing things that people do to recraft, redesign, restructure that item that's in your garden. And allow yourself to break it up and have fun and try. At first you may not succeed, but you'll make something and you'll enjoy it. Creation is fun.
It is fun, isn't it? And I think that people misinterpret being creative as having to be incredibly artistic and being able to create like the most amazing Turner landscapes or whatever. But it's not, is it? It is about having fun with something.
It is. And I mean, I suddenly shouted no at you. Creation is artistic. You know, what am I saying? What am I saying? There's a little bit of a snobbery in this world about being artistic and art. Creation is artistic. We all are it. We're all human beings. Human beings are artistic and creative. It doesn't matter how much you want to tell yourself you are not. You are that. You just haven't found it, or are scared of it, or haven't just thrown yourself deep into it.
I wonder if people just make excuses like don't have enough time, etc., and so don't even begin anything because of that. So one of the programs I love to watch, and so does my daughter as well, we watch it together, is the Escape to the Chateau with Dick and Angel. Do you watch any of that?
Yes, I have seen that. I don't watch a lot of television, but I do see that. This is why these programs just don't jump out. But yes, I have to say, love France. Anything French for me, absolutely. And amazing characters. And yes, great program, well put together.
Yeah, because they've got they've been doing their own filming, so they've got their lockdown DIY thing going on at the minute, encouraging us all to have a go. And some of the things that they've been showing, you know, like a teenager got her family to, you know, email them, and then she ended up on their show, and basically they took her bedroom from being something that looked like it had been designed when she was 2 years old into something for a 15-year-old. And it was amazing. The advice that they gave them was basically they made her a bed out of pallets that they just put a mattress on the top. And just the way they rejigged the room so the bed wasn't in the same position, it faced a different way. And then fairy lights, and I don't know whether she'd made it or whether her mum had made it, but they made a macrame hanging seat. I mean, it's just phenomenal what people can do when they're just shown just simple techniques.
Absolutely.
And
there are many. Yes, sorry.
No, I'm going to say, I don't know about you, but I never thought that macrame would come back in fashion. And it has.
It never left.
Well, I have to say it left my universe, but yeah. It's back. Of all things, macrame. But if you're making it,
I'm glad
I hope
it's
you're
back
enjoying
in
it.
your life. I'm glad it's back in your life, Denise.
I haven't had to go yet, but I'm watching people that are doing it different and making some very contemporary wall hangings and things like that as a result of learning macrame. Not sure that knotting lots of rope is my thing. I do love to knit, and I did knit a lockdown blanket, which was just stunning. So many beautiful colours. Anyway, I ramble on. We need to take another break, and then we'll come back for our final section, and Jayne will find out all your contact details. Hi there, welcome back to our final session of today's Empowerment Hour. So my guest, Jayne Hopwood. Jayne, contact details, please. How do we find you? Where do we find you?
Okay, I love to hear people's voices, so I'm going to give you my telephone number first of all. 07900994399. Love to chat. Ring me up. Questions, anything. You know, even if it's something you're stuck with at home and you want a little bit of inspiration or a direction, ring me up. I can talk about this all day long. My website, www.jdecor.co.uk, or email me on Jayne with a Y at jdecor.co.uk.
Lovely stuff. So what, if you had one design tip to give us, what would that be? Or have I put you on the spot?
Okay, one design tip. And again, do you know what? I'm going to come from the left and I'm going to answer in a little bit of a different way. Throw yourself into it. Throw yourself into the idea. So if you were sitting in your lounge right now listening to this with an itch to do something with something in that room you're in or in another part of your house, go to it now. Touch it, feel it, look at it, take it to bits. Dare to play. Play. There you go. That's the answer.
Your top tip is play. Mine would be to measure. Always measure carefully. The number of things I've got wrong, thinking I could do it by eye many years ago. No, never do that now. Always have my tape measure to hand.
Sure. But sometimes when you make mistakes, you learn.
You do, actually. It's true.
And mistakes are actually part of the path to creation.
We've all got to make mistakes. If you don't make a mistake, you'll never learn anything. I think the thing as well is it's only a mistake and that's it. Don't get bogged down by it, because anything can be changed at any time. So
and it's
that would be what I would say. Very philosophical end to the show today.
It's only you that says it's a mistake. It may not be a mistake. Who says it's a mistake?
Yeah, exactly. Jayne, thank you so much for being with us today on Empowerment Hour. Just really grateful to you for taking the time and being a guest today. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for listening. Stay tuned to Calon FM. There's always more to come here. And yeah, I look forward to the day that we can all be back in the studio together chatting. And I don't know when that might be. I think we thought it might have happened by now. It hasn't. Let's wait and see. So stay safe, everyone. And yeah, see you next week. Bye for now. Bye, Jayne. Bye. Bye.
Bye.